rather excited because this video I'm going to be talking to you all about my sort of cocktail experience, where I've come to where I am now. Yeah, I'm just really excited. So I've just finished editing the first cocktail that I'm going to talk you through in my mini series that is coming up. Everyone that has seen previous videos know that I'm really impatient, so I thought that I better come on here and just get this whole sort of little intro out of the way so I can start uploading some of those for you. I would say about 7 years ago I started sort of like my cocktail journey. I started on a bar in Corton, and for the first 2 weeks I absolutely hated it. I'd never done any sort of bar work before and I was as shy as you don't know what, and I hated it. Come just past the 2-week mark, I'd sort of started to know what the spirits were, all the different names that people call them and all of that. So I started to get a little bit more familiar, and I met this girl called Gemma. She turned out to be my best friend, and she was the one that started doing sort of like a cocktail of the week, and she could create her own cocktail and she would sort of like advertise it on a little like blackboard on the bar, and then obviously people would buy it. I was really fascinated in everything that she was doing and just sort of got drawn to it. So she started going through quite a lot of different stuff. She was teaching me some stuff and I just got more drawn in. Yeah, that's sort of like where it started from. Going ahead, they started to get rid of cocktail of the week and they didn't sell much cocktails anymore, and we got new management. So obviously things sort of changed a little bit. Fast forward, I come up with the idea of doing a mini cocktail masterclass for people. So I would do it Tuesday and Saturday. So they would advertise it, the entertainment team would advertise it, and whoever wanted to come along just came along, sat down at the bar or outside during summer, and I would just make 2 different cocktails, show them how we make it, and you know, just get them to try it just to see if that would boost sales a little bit. And it did, and everyone adored them and they went through the roof, which was absolutely amazing. I was so proud, and so was Gemma. And she wasn't one to, it's not like I sort of stepped on her toes. She wasn't the type of person to stand in front of a crowd of people and talk about the cocktails and all of that. So she was sort of like my mentor to start with. And I probably done these little mixology courses or classes for about close to 2 years, I would say. And so where I worked previously was a part of Bourne Leisure, and Bourne Leisure deal with Pontins, Butlins and Warner Leisure hotels, and I worked for one of those. And there was, in our specific sort of section, there was 13 different sites. Obviously they caught on as to, you know, how we were selling more cocktails, and they would come down from different parts of the country and sort of sit in. I would obviously just think that they were regular guests, and they would just come and sit in, see what I was doing, and then they would go back to their site and implement what I was doing. So it then got to the point where the bigger bosses of the company, and bear in mind that Born Leisure is huge, so it got to the point where Born Leisure, they were sort of keeping a track on everyone's scores, like how much they were selling in spirits, beers, cocktails, all of that sort of stuff. And obviously they saw a bit of an increase, so they decided to hold a competition between all of the sites on who could sell, you know, the most cocktails from this month to this month, and whoever would then win for their site would then get the opportunity to go away and be taught by one of the top mixologists in the world. And obviously this was massively appealing to me, so I worked so hard. And I will say I had a little bit of an advantage because of myself doing the masterclasses and all of that. There was a tie between myself and 3 other people on who, you know, who had sold the most cocktails in this amount of time. So they held the competition, I believe, for 1 more week. I had won, and then there was a massive tie between 3 other people. Gemma was in that 3 other people, but because of how well our site done with cocktails and we surpassed all of the other 13 sites, they gave us the opportunity to send 3 people away instead of just the 1 person. And I was over the moon with that because it was a week-long, roughly 4 days, something like that, all expenses paid trip to go away to one of the sites near Lakeside. And obviously I was over the moon because I didn't want to travel all that way and stay somewhere where, you know, I didn't really know anyone. Gemma had then decided that she wanted the other 2 people to go away because even though she would learn a lot and she loved cocktails, she wouldn't ever do any of the mixology courses because she didn't like talking in front of people. So she thought it would benefit the other guys a lot more than what it would her. And I admire that about her. She is, honestly, I absolutely adore her. Anyway, so the trip comes. There was 4 of us in total. So obviously our manager, myself, and then the 2 other people. And when we got there, one of the top mixologists, he was from South Africa, so he flew all the way from South Africa to Lakeside to train about, I think in total there was about 10 people, and that wasn't including like the managers. And we had about 4 different courses with him, sort of obviously like learning the basics and then, you know, learning more in depth on how they originated, where they come from, how they've grown, and all of that. So that was such a massive thing for me to go and do, and that had benefited me so much that I couldn't like thank him enough. I was over the moon. And obviously all expenses paid trip. We went out a couple of nights, obviously got to do, you know, try cocktails and all of that sort of stuff. So it was fun. It was a really, really, really fun trip. Then fast forward to a little while, I don't know dates, but fast forward a little time later, every single sort of season we would have like a team meeting and a big briefing. So obviously before Christmas we would have a briefing on what sort of products we're getting in, what we need to sell, what's going to happen, what changes are going to happen, and so on and so forth, especially for like throughout the summer as well, because we had a bar outside and all these different stuff going on. During one of those briefings we were still the top site on selling cocktails, and that makes me so proud, because I sort of feel like, obviously I'm not the only person to do it, but I feel like I sort of jump started that with the whole cocktails, because they didn't really sell any cocktails before I started doing this masterclass. And I'm not one of these people that whenever I do something right, I want to be praised for it. But when you've had someone that has helped so much with like sales, a thank you would go a long way, and I didn't get that at all. So during this briefing, they were saying how they want to, there was one other site that was getting close to our scores for cocktails, and we needed to, you know, keep in front. I came up with the idea in front of everyone to do sort of like a happy hour, and not make it as like tacky as like a happy hour, but do a happy hour. And the boss sort of like just shooed the idea away because he just thought it was tacky, it wasn't good, and it wouldn't be great. So I was like, you know, fine, you know, he's the boss, I can't really, you know, force him to do anything, even though I just knew that it would be really, really good. So then there's a lot of fast forwarding in this video. So then fast forward again to probably about a month and a half later, we had another briefing, and this one was of the boss saying how he's come up with this fantastic idea. You can probably guess what it is, but he's come up with this fantastic idea to do a happy hour. And I was just sat in my seat, and I swear almost everyone on the bar team looked at me to see my facial expression. And he was like, yeah, this is going to be great. It's not going to be a 2-for-1 or anything like that, you know, but it's going to be this and this and this. It's going to be great. And I was like, right, okay. So you've just taken my idea, but you're going to pass it off of as your own. Anyway, whatever. This then come into play, obviously on a Saturday night, and it absolutely blew off. Like, it went insane. And we were doing over 200 cocktails a night. Once again, it goes to the fact that my idea, which was my idea, got shunned, and the boss took massive praise for it, for now making all this money on this wonderful idea that he come up with, yet he didn't come up with it. He slated the idea when I mentioned it to him in front of everyone, but then he took credit for it. And, you know, in my eyes, you're supposed to work together. Like, if someone's come up with that idea, you know, if it doesn't work, then whatever, you know, you trial it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, you know, don't then pass that idea off as your own. And that was sort of when I started to stop loving what I was doing, because it was all of this money that I was making for the company, yet all of the head bosses thought it was the managers that come up with the idea, so they were obviously getting praised for it. And it was just sort of a massive kick in the teeth for me, because it was like, well, what's the point? It then got close to roughly when I was going to leave. It was probably about 2-3 months before I was going to leave, and the company wanted to step up my masterclasses. So we were the first site, we'd just had a refurbishment, and we were the first site to get an actual cocktail bar. So it obviously wasn't like we were doing cocktails on our bar, it was completely, it was a part of the same bar, but right over at the end it was just cocktails, purely cocktails, an actual cocktail bar. Obviously they wanted to make everything completely posh, so you would pay to come on this course. You would learn about 5 different cocktails, the ins and outs of every single one, where they originated from, how they've grown, blah 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 blah. And obviously I was one of the ones to do that. Still, I learned so much from it and I loved it, but the love and the excitement that I had for the job deteriorated a lot, and I just didn't get on with the management anymore, because they were just really sneaky and I really didn't appreciate it, because it was like, you were taking everything that I've worked hard for and you're passing it off as your own, and I didn't I didn't enjoy that. But I just wasn't happy for a long time there anymore. And I wanted something new. And I had this new interview on the Monday. One of the guys that interviewed me was the general manager of this new place. And obviously, the typical questions, what do you do now? And I said, I'm a mixologist and I've been trained by one of the top mixologists in the world. And he was one of them people where he likes to sort of try and out you. He likes to out you, to think, oh yeah, that's not what you do. So he literally sat in front of me and went, name me 5 cocktails, what goes in them, where they came from, go. And I swear, obviously doing this cocktail course and doing the mixology classes that I do with 5 different cocktails really, really helped. And I did not breathe through the whole entire thing. I named out all of these cocktails, how they were made, what goes in them. And when I finished, I was like, sort of thing. And I blew the general manager away, and he wanted to out me so much, I didn't know what I was talking about, but he couldn't fault it at all. Obviously, I had the interview on the Monday. I then got offered the job on Tuesday, and they offered me the job as the mixologist of the hotel. And then I handed in my notice on the Wednesday, and then I went on holiday for 2 weeks, so I sort of didn't have to work my 2 weeks notice, as I was already pre-booked on holiday anyway. So I come in to this new job, and I was given so much responsibility, and it wasn't what I was used to, because at my old place they were very controlling and obviously took everything for their own. The fact that I started this new job and within the first week they were like, right, here's the catalogues, order whatever you need, order all your shakers that you need, order all the glassware that you need, just order it, do it. This is the list that we want to start with. I want you to come up with all the measurements, how they're going to look, blah, 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 blah. This is your bar. Do what you want. Enjoy. I was obviously over the moon, and the cocktails skyrocketed. They were absolutely amazing. Come Christmas, the company's photographer, very much still quite a big company, their photographer wanted me to come up with about 5 different cocktails for winter, and I'm not gonna lie, I hated doing winter cocktails. Don't like them, don't enjoy them. I think they're a pain in the ass. But I done them, they photographed them, they videoed me making them, and I got massively praised for them, and that is all I wanted. I've worked so hard on these ideas. It was just so refreshing to just hear someone say, you've done such an amazing job, thank you. Fast forwarding to end of April, beginning of May time. Obviously the summer was coming round, and I wanted to, obviously because I couldn't at this point change all of the cocktail menu, but I wanted to come up with a cocktail of the week, or 2 cocktails of the week, and they were all for it. They loved the idea. I started off with a watermelon martini, different flavoured mojitos, kiwi mojitos, strawberry, raspberry mojitos. Come up with all of this stuff, and they absolutely skyrocketed, and that is probably one of my biggest achievements, with how many cocktails I created over the course of the summer, and how many people wanted to physically come and find the mixologist and tell me how... I'm going to get upset now, and I don't know why. They wanted to come and physically find me to tell me how much they loved the cocktails and how they'd never tried anything like that before. And to me that is so rewarding, because all I've ever wanted is sort of oh, I did not think this video I'd get upset. But yeah, to me that was like the most rewarding thing, because they wanted to praise me up and tell me how much of a good job I've done and all of that. It then got to the point where the CEOs of the company wanted to have a chat with me and just say how shocked they are at how well all of the cocktails I've done and what a fantastic job I've done and how much they enjoy the cocktails. And that was just such a rewarding feeling. Obviously, having so much freedom, I was the one that was creating all these cocktails, and I was the one that was obviously making them and trying them and physically making the syrups to go into the cocktail, and working so close with the head chef there on what would work, and you know, him teaching me all these different little tricks and all of that. So it was such like a rewarding time. And then to also, which I will insert some photos of after this, also one of the massive highlights is the head photographer again taking me on sort of like a little morning trip out to the beach, and I had to make my cocktails and they got professionally photographed again, and the photos are all on their website for them to see, for everyone to see, and all of that. And it was just absolutely amazing. And they're some of like my best work and some of like my best sellers. Yeah, I've just absolutely adored it. So now that things are moving along and things have changed slightly, it was only last year that I come to the conclusion that I don't think I'll ever leave cocktails behind. It's one of them things that I think even if I try to get away from, it will stay with me. There's so many different things you can do with cocktails and all of that, that I've come to the conclusion that my long time goal would be to have my own cocktail bar. And bear in mind that is a way away. I have been shown that anything is possible, you know, you just have to stick to it, and I would be bloody good at it. This is sort of where this sort of little like ramble time is going to be done with. But yeah, I just sort of wanted to come on here. Like I said at the start, I am going to be doing my own mini series on cocktails, talking you through how to make specific ones, showing you videos of how to make them, making them really, really easy. There will be ones where I will show you the different equipment that you need, or, you know, lack of that you need really, because it doesn't take a lot to make cocktails. And, you know, just teaching some of you guys how to make stuff that is quite easy, quite simple, but looks stunning. So this is sort of the main part and the main reason why I've made this video, because I think it's going to be such a fun series to make. I will add to it as much as I can. There'll be things in there on how to make certain syrups that last for quite a while. There's going to be obviously different cocktails that you can make, and yeah, I'm just really, really excited to do this mini series for you guys, and I really hope that you enjoy watching it. I hope that you learn something from it. By all means, if there's any questions that you guys have for me that you would like me to answer, then please feel free to comment down below, or go to one of my social media pages and DM me in any of those. I do have a specific Instagram account for my mixology cocktails, so I will link that down below, or I will probably add it just down here. So please feel free to go and have a look at that and follow me on there. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this video here, and the first cocktail will be up very, very shortly. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, because I do not want you to miss this series that is coming up, because it's going to be so bloody fun. So I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you very, very soon.